All right, hello, hello, hello. This is Ross Fertel, faithful reader on the forums, and I'm here with a special guest today, Patty. How are you? Want to give yourself a quick intro?
Hello, I'm Paddy Ty, case on Pad on the forums, and one of the designers on the new set to the journey.
Yeah, so I tried to cover To the Journey with my Drive from Work series. Thank you everyone for listening to that, but it just became apparent really quickly that with a lot of these missions, there wasn't a lot more for me to say beyond this is a good mission. It works in the Know Your Enemy Homestead camp. Have fun.
A lot
So,
of them do, yes. And also pretty pictures. That's the other thing you can say.
oh, we'll get to this a little later, but art has gone above and beyond with this set.
They always
Um,
do with missions, and yeah, this was really good.
yeah, the set took a while for them to do just because there were so many missions, but it is so worth it.
Oh yeah,
So this discussion is kind of going to be in two parts. The first part is going to be here looking at the search function. I've got this set up so that we are only looking at missions in the Delta Quadrant, and we are specifically looking for point value less than 35. We'll be going through most of these affiliations. If you are a fan of Starfleet or Vulcan, sorry, you are almost entirely out of luck. I'm sure there is a way that you can do that. There are espionage cards, but this deck is probably not for you. Um,
yeah. The Delta Quadrant and the 22nd century aren't really meant to mix.
another thing is I'm specifically looking at missions as they are printed. For the most part, if you're looking for espionage or other means to attempt missions, they will increase the repertoire that you can look at. But aside from the Bajorans, we're just going to be looking at what's printed on the missions, mainly because with the Bajorans, they've got two.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of options. It's not really ideal for Bajorans. It wasn't really designed for Bajorans. If you look at the affiliation icons on Make New Home, those are the ones which are generally the most optimal Alpha Quadrant ones to bring into the Delta Quadrant. Romulan also do quite well because there's something coming for the Romulans, but that's still under our hats. So
Yeah, so it is possible with Bajoran resistance cell and espionage, but
yeah.
if it works, more power to you. But we'll move on to Cardassians. They have 13 missions. I'll scroll down the list here. And from what I can tell with my crack research team, I would say that the best bet would be the Klingons, then the Kazon, then the Romulans.
As your enemy, yeah.
Yeah, for looking specifically with Know Your Enemy and Homestead.
Well, I'd say that the best bet is actually Federation
Yeah,
because I think pretty much apart from Clan Telepaths, I think Federation is on all of those missions. So um, yeah, Clan Telepaths would work well if you've got enough like Romulan icons or Kazon icons. But I'd say in general for Cardassians, the Federation will probably be the better enemy to have.
yeah. Well, I know the Federation is probably going to be the best one. I am trying to look outside that with this. I should probably preface this with that. But
Yeah,
yeah, there's like all but two that have the Federation attemptability. Right, I've skipped a minion and Federation. If you have problems finding a Federation, I don't know what to say. Um,
actually, I would look at Federation actually. 'Cause I think
okay.
working out who their enemy is probably one of the more interesting options.
Oh, because they've got 24. Wow.
Yeah,
All
and things
right.
to try and pick that they could use. I mean, there's certainly a fair few Klingon icon missions on there. But there's also a few Romulans,
Romulan.
Cardassians, uh, um, and then obviously the more native ones. You got um, some of the missions from Life Science as well. That's also qualifying. So you could use, for example, the Vidians as their enemy.
Yeah, and also Ferengi and non-aligned is not too bad either.
Indeed, yeah.
All right. And then looking at Ferengi. So we'll do a scroll down here. And then I think your best bet with Ferengi is oddly enough the Klingons.
Potentially. I think Kazon, there's a few uh, in there as well. In particular, impersonate sages. Um, I could say that a Ferengi deck could definitely be wanting that in future. There's something I'm working on at the minute, which would focus on that, and I would recommend using one of those as your enemy. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, also with impersonate sages, your idea is just to have that as the lone Ferengi deck, or not go dual quadrant, just full Delta Quadrant Ferengi.
yeah, I'd recommend going full DQ Ferengi.
All right. And then a couple Delta Quadrant natives, starting with the Hydrogen. So we'll scroll down here. And I believe this is probably the Klingons or Kazon.
Yeah, I think there's a few Vidians as well. I think the Klingons is probably the best bet. Obviously you got Bypass Warzone, which has been a good mission for a long time. But then if you add in things like equalized treatment levels, and in particular, we're trying to find ones in space is tricky. So Evade Neural Harvest is another good one.
Right?
And then of course the classic of Hunt Alien.
Yeah.
And if you're wanting some extra bonus points, the in one the respond to the stress call. That's also very useful.
Yeah, yeah. Honor times 4 with Hirogen, not too hard to come up with.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. And moving on to the Kazons. Just do a quick scroll. They do have a lot of missions that are just them,
There are a
but
couple, yeah, but then those were largely ones which already existed.
right.
So I think
Um,
we added one more with the acquire
Acquire food
food.
replicator.
Yeah.
So looking at these, I'm thinking that it might be the Vidians.
There have been a fair few missions which are basically both Kazon and Vidians.
Yeah,
So
it
some
helps when
support.
your focus is early seasons of Voyager.
Yeah.
Um, and then next up is Klingons, who
Yeah.
are
18
also
there.
pretty well set up.
So again, there's a fair few overlaps between the Klingons and the Vidians, but then the Federation is probably the most obvious enemy for them to have.
Yeah. Um, so I was also looking into Cardassian and non-aligned, which are not too bad to go down either. Um, all right. And then non-aligned for the sake of completeness. Yeah, pretty much Federation. Few Ferengi though.
Featuring EQKs on, yeah. There are options.
All
We
right.
tried to add as many different options as we could, but Obviously, you can't cover everything, so
Yeah, I
otherwise you'd
did.
end up with all the missions being like 7 icons.
Yeah, I did like one of the sub things with the missions was having a lot more affiliation icons. That shows up on the support cards, especially those dilemmas.
Yeah, we were trying to play off that, and we wanted to. Obviously, we were giving the bonus of that extra draw. If you've got a lot of things on that, there's already a big big penalty with linguistic legerdemain. So we added another penalty on Archer Precise Bowman.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. So looking at the Romulans, pretty much Federation.
yeah, plenty of Federation options there.
All right, and then with the Vidians, thinking Kazon, Klingon.
Hang on, yeah, potentially Federation as well. As there's
Yeah,
still a fair few for those, particularly things like evade detection and which is a mission too, which is useful for them, and optimize performance menu.
right. Anything else before we go to card by card?
No, I think that's a good summary of the sort of the mission diversity and for different affiliations.
Yeah, and also thank you very much for not having seven affiliation icons on a card.
I think we did that mostly to save art from trying to work out how to squeeze them on.
Yeah, which would just look like a really trippy barcode.
Yeah.
All right, so going through card by card, um, we're just gonna kind of go through these. We're gonna skim where we skim and stop where we stop. I would like to pay attention to cards like this that are specifically not know your enemy friendly.
Mm.
Um, so this
I'd
is
say
actually
in
a
particular with this one, um, there wasn't really a decent image of the planet, and the fact that Art have added in the Kazon chip as well, just says how much they've done to really produce some stunning images here.
yeah, and this is just a nice solid Kazon mission. It's a good support mission. It adds to their repertoire.
Absolutely.
Right. This got some talk on the Discord with killing all empathy and mind meld in the Delta Quadrant. That could be pretty nasty depending on what your opponent is playing.
When we originally tested it, it was all, and then we limited it to the Delta Quadrant because that would be pretty harsh on anyone playing a Vulcan deck. So,
Yeah. Well, even in the Delta Quadrant, if you're in the Delta Quadrant and you solve this at the right time, if your dilemmas target empathy, you could be in a pretty good spot unless your opponent's able to refuel their empathic lines.
mm.
Okay. Oh, hang on. I believe I had something down for this.
There are a
Or
couple of missions which do require a landed ship in the Delta Quadrant. So, um, that's a useful requirement to be able to utilize.
right. Oh, so I looked at this and I'm like, okay, Art took the asteroid and put a outpost on it, but then I took a deeper look and I'm like, this isn't just slapping an outpost on. This is like adding a cargo bay. There's depth to this. Like Art put in a lot of time on getting the outpost version of this mission too to show up.
Yeah, most of the outposts are usually floating in space. Seeing it embedded in the asteroid is quite cool here.
Yeah. All right.
I'd say if you just go back to Evade Neural Harvest, that was the
Yeah.
one I found I used probably the most in playtesting. In particular, we'd found a lack of space missions that you could use in the Know Your Enemy decks. So this one in particular, because it had plenty of um, uh, uh, opposing icons and so forth to be able to use it made it really diverse and useful within lots of different decks.
Cool. Yeah, the requirements seem pretty good.
Yeah, and let's be fair, if you're playing most of those variations, security and anthropology are not going to be hard to find.
Yeah. All right.
I still was a second Kazon only.
Yeah. Well, this one also got some talk with you could either seed an artifact here or the Hanoan land eel, and your opponent will be none the wiser.
Yeah.
And also requirements tailor-made for the Kazon, no pun intended.
Oh yes. Yeah. Very, very Kazon requirements. Yeah.
Right.
Bonus points there if you've got the temporal macro on and pay.
Yeah.
And this would be a prodigy mission.
Yeah. Because
So I believe if you look at the slight blue glow on the right hand side, that's our first in-card image of the prodigy.
yeah. All right. Really good mission for the DNs, but just out of the know your enemy framework.
Yes, but it's nice to have some high point options for them as well.
Right.
In particular, it is possible with the Vidians to do um, a couple of high point missions, one in Delta, one in Alpha Quadrant, to get past the requirements of uh, needing an extra 40 points. So having the high point missions is very useful for them.
Yeah. Well, in my 2E draft from work, I was talking about a mission that had 40 points. And the good thing with that mission is since it has 40 points, you could do that one in 230s for your three missions.
Yeah. I think at Nationals last year in the UK, I had a Bedean setup that used, I think it was, I was going for like 30 bonus points from organ theft. And then I was using 35 point mission for space in the Delta Quadrant and about 45 points in the Alpha Quadrant using Access Archives.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we talked about this one. With this, I could see you doing a dual quadrant deck, Alpha Quadrant and Delta Quadrant.
Mhm.
Don't know how successful it'll be, but it is something you can do with this deck. It'll set you up with your Barzan wormhole, and you can get that going.
Yeah, I've got plans for it as well with the Ferengi booster shot um, set that's coming up.
Yeah,
So yeah, we've definitely got plans to build off that one in future.
yeah. And this is one of the two cards that got a little discussion in the thread. Because it's a
Yeah,
built-in outpost, it has transporters, but like the Kazon should have found their transporters by now.
yeah. If anything, I mean it has its downsides as well because it doesn't give you that download of a um, Kazon
Kazon
Collective.
Collective, yeah.
Yeah, um, and so with that, yes, you get the ability to beam there, but you've already got the ability to see the ship, which could be Voyager. So there's ways around the whole transport issue.
Yeah, and also 20 points, you're gonna have to do some work.
Yeah, so you paid a bit of a price there for the ability of having the transporters there.
And this is the other card that had some pushback. You're investigating a holotechnology malfunction, but there's no holodeck for you to investigate on.
No, clearly it's
Yeah,
broken. So
yeah,
that's why there's no holiday there.
yeah,
But equally, you don't get a downloaded Trojan Hunt as well, which is another part of the cost of getting a free outpost here.
right. All right. So I've talked about this being one of my favorite cards in the set, mainly for holographic compatibility. There's an online doctor, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. There's the Equinox Doctor for starters. So
Yeah. Oh, plus all the if you're playing Whisked Away, if, if you have holograms, it shouldn't be hard to just get one to do this.
exactly, yeah,
All right, so Lone Heroian mission. Sorry, really good Lone Heroian mission.
yeah. Another useful. Um, I thought it was. No, it's not a nebula. Oh no, it is. Yeah, yeah. Nubari Nebula. Yeah, it's in the
Yeah.
title. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like how this adds some nebulas to
Mm.
the game. All right, Ray
That was a great
technology.
image.
Yes.
Nice little region as well. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, this one started off as a card that was a non-aligned mission two, which Lee Paolo had originally designed, and we then ended up splitting that into essentially five cards because this became Abandoned Cube and this mission, plus obviously that was the inspiration to then do mission twos for Kazon, Vidian, and Hirogen. So
Yeah.
essentially, from that one card design of his, we've ended up with five different cards.
Yeah. This is also a Necrotic Expanse region and
Oh yeah,
pretty much set up for your Ferengi.
yeah, good for the Ferengi, and also obviously it'll be next door to another non-land mission, which is the um, assist cooperative one, which can uh, be very very close to uh, uh, this one. So
All right. Yeah, so type 9 shuttlecraft, you're pretty much going with Voyager Equinox.
yeah, I mean more so the shuttle drop deck
Yeah.
for Voyager, which my friend Lofty's been a big proponent of using. So
Yeah. All right. So this this card, I'm thinking you could use to just be the only card in the Delta Quadrant, not have any means of getting there, and just see how
yeah,
many people you can strand there from Primal Urges.
I mean I've used a similar tactic with Aid Fugitives Bopac 3 in the Gamma Quadrant. Simply because you're less likely to encounter a Dominion opponent. Um, I think at the moment you're likely to encounter a fair few more Delta Quadrant opponents, so the odds of getting people isolated in the Delta Quadrant are, you know, less high. But over time we'll see, you know, how this evolves and how people play it.
And another really great art card.
Yeah, this again was a prodigy card, and yeah, it's a fantastic image. So.
Yeah.
If you can also can you also look at the reverse of that one as well? Because I just the fact that they turn the lights off for that one is really good.
Yeah, did we see that in the episode with the lights off?
I'm not sure.
If
So
if not,
um
art really went out of their way. There's
oh
above
yeah.
and beyond, and then there's above and beyond.
Hmm. Yeah. I am hoping that at some point I will get to do the version one of this, and I've got some ideas in mind.
Good, because there was another one that in the forums there was just discussion on doing the version one of that.
Yeah, but
Um,
I know exactly what I think it should be, and I'm not going to say any more than that.
Perfect. Well, one of us knows how to keep their mouth shut, and it's not me. Um, so yeah, that's the set. It's legal 1 week from yesterday, which is a great thing to say on YouTube. It's going to be tournament legal on the 17th. There
Yeah,
is
Friday.
an online tournament on the 20th. I will be doing a draft for the set as I've done in the past. Um, look for the forums for more on that. But if you're looking for a bit of a teaser, again, I cannot keep my mouth shut. If you draft a mission two, you cannot also draft a mission one counterpart. So no intercept lone intruder and intercept lone intruder two. One or the other, either or.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's just how missions work. So
um, all right. Anything else before we wrap up?
no, I just it's been a real it's been really fun working on this set. Um, Sort of exploring all the options to try and enhance what you can do with things like Know Your Enemy has been great fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone comes up with.
Yeah, and from a creative standpoint, I just love diving back into those Voyager missions, especially those early season ones.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
and the set started out as two sets, came together as one, and it does not feel like two sets mashed together. This feels like a really good cohesive set.
I think we started off as two teams, but then we sort of worked together on the one objective of missions that would help um, the Delta Quadrant overall, and that became what the basis of the set was. And we just added in a few other cards to sort of flesh it out. But it that there was a need for those extra missions that was driving both teams to it. So we all submitted ideas separately and then put the best ones together to come up with this.
Cool. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you very much for coming and talking about the set. Really appreciate
No
it
worries.
since there's not much that I could say beyond, yeah, these missions look good and they're good with Know Thy Enemy. Sorry, Know Your Enemy. I call it Know Thy Enemy. I'm going to make this mistake forever. Um, thank you very much for listening. Take care and